Hi everyone and welcome back to the Couch Buddies. And tonight I will be telling you a donut story.
Yes, Donut Stories, and I will be talking about a game based on a French movie, and we'll be also having some delusions with a banana. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome yet again to another brand new Couch episode.
Yes,
And nice week, right DJ?
not really. I came back to work, so
Oh,
I had a miserable week, but I hope that you people out there that are watching us, you had a better week than, or you're still having
yeah,
a better week than I did, because
and keep having it.
coming back to work after almost a week of downtime is murderous, I should say. It's
Yeah, they did
horrible.
try to murder you, but they failed.
They failed miserably, but I guess that at work they are almost succeeding anyways. But
Yeah,
it is what it is. We have born poor people, so we have to work. That's exactly what it is. So
yeah.
let's go right into the games today or tonight and see what you have for us today, Blake.
Oh, okay, we're going to talk about games then. But I'll make it different this week, a little bit.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
I'm going to bring two games tonight, as usual, but they have a story behind that's more important than the games themselves.
Okay, go on.
Because gaming is not just about the games,
No shit, Sherlock!
it's about everything else around it. So,
Mm.
the game I'm going to talk about is from 2003, and it came out on the PlayStation 2. And it's a
Okay.
game called International Superstar Soccer 3, or ISS 3 for short.
Ah, the golden age of the football games, right?
Yeah, but
Indeed.
what's so important about this game? Well, it's a football game. There's not much to tell about it. It was actually good and it played fast back then.
Yes.
I liked this franchise a lot more than the FIFA franchise back then. This is
Indeed.
important to mention because it was more realistic, it was faster, it was more interesting to play and more challenging. That's the first reason I'm talking about this one and not another one. The second one is this game was so important to me because at the time I had undergone surgery in the lower back to remove a cyst, and I was locked in my bed because it didn't go very well for like 3 months. Well, not locked for 3 months in bed, but roughly a month. So,
Wow.
at the time, I had this very little small TV in the bedroom, and being there in the bed without anything to do to keep me entertained, and I needed to be always belly down. You can imagine how that was. My father
No,
actually got me a huge TV.
I cannot. Just for the sake of the guys, the people that are watching, I cannot imagine what is you belly down, so that people don't
Yeah,
think that I have that vision. I spent 10 days in a hospital
Okay.
bed and I found that it was horrible. But please go on.
Yeah, but you were belly up. I wasn't. I
Yes,
couldn't.
I was. Yes, I
So,
was.
so you know, my father brought me this huge television back then, and it was so nice. And connecting the PlayStation 2 to it, I said, okay, I'm going to have some fun. And this was one of the games I played, and I will take this moment just to thank my friends that back then they literally came home to be with me from morning almost till
Oh.
dinner time every day. They put up with me belly up on that bed just playing games, and this was the game we spent the most time playing. And we never got really good at it. And you ask why? Well, specifically because it wasn't a very easy game to score goals, and it had one particular thing that, well, this game had this little detail that when you went to the line to make a cross for the area to try and score, you had this like kind of bullet effect that would come on. The game would just slow down and the camera would just focus on whatever you were doing, and it just felt like you were playing football in the Matrix. It was so cool. And what literally happened, we always spent all the games trying to get to the line and make a cross like this. So you can imagine we didn't worry too much about playing the game too properly because our goal is just to make a cross like this and score a goal because it was really cool.
Kind of like those exploits that we had in FIFA 94, right? That you could score goals always from the same angle. Sensible Soccer had something like this also.
No, the best thing about FIFA 94 is if you shoot the ball at the goalkeeper, he would pick it up, and you just need to get in front of him and keep hitting the shoot button. When he tried to throw the ball ahead, you would just head it to the goal. It was always goal.
It had a lot of exploits.
That was stupid.
It has a lot of exploits, and I think all of several games had it. I remember Sensible Soccer, special angled balls, like you would come from one of the corners of the area, and you would just shoot, and it would most likely it would be a goal. I mean,
yeah, it was 99% chance. Yeah,
indeed, yeah. I mean, these were interesting games. I didn't play ISS, to be honest.
it was so cool.
I was well into FIFA back then, and I mean, this was pre Pro Evolution Soccer era, and then that's when we actually started having some real competition on the FIFA titles that were back then. I remember playing a lot of FIFA 2000, but that was, that's another story for another
This
time.
game was actually the last one from the ISS series.
Yeah, I guess that then it came as Pro Evolution Soccer. I wasn't much of a big fan.
I think it even passed the Winning 11 franchise and then Pro Evolution, if I'm not mistaken.
Not a connoisseur, so probably I'm wrong. I admit that.
I'm not too sure about this, but I have this
I
idea
must say
in
that
my
for
mind,
me, the football games were really interesting in the mid-90s until probably late 90s, until the early 2000s when we had FIFA 2000. I played a lot of Euro 96, Actua Soccer, for example.
Oh, I remember that one.
Those that, especially on the Sega Saturn with friends, I used to play that with my cousin's house.
Yeah.
So I did play some of these games, but not really that. I'm not really much into the football franchise. I like more to watch it than actually, making.
For instance, I don't like watching ice hockey, and I love the NHL.
Yeah.
And I don't like playing golf, but I love a few golf games.
Yeah, I do.
Especially Neo Turf Masters.
I like, but that's not such a realistic game. I already to talk about another golf game here, which was Lynx on the PC, which was more of a simulation, and that was a great game. Good call.
Yeah.
I mean, ISS is a game that we haven't brought here yet. I think we didn't bring a lot of PlayStation 2 games, to be honest. We bought some, not even PlayStation. I think the original PlayStation, we haven't brought a lot of titles.
Yeah, we need to bring more of them.
Maybe you, because I didn't have any console. So whatever I will bring from the PlayStation is whatever I was able to emulate on Bleem back then. So
I'm going to tell you something. The funniest thing is that, what was the reason I managed to get a PlayStation on release day? There was this local shop, and they actually owed me a favor. And they got one for launch day, and I got it. And the way I managed to talk my father into buying it was that I told him, hey, we need a DVD player. This is cheaper. And this was reality back then. The PlayStation 2 was the cheapest DVD player you had.
Yeah, that was a very good selling point from the PlayStation on that sense, especially the PlayStation 2. Moving on to other areas, and I'm gonna go back to the PC, obviously here, and I'm gonna talk about a game that I don't know if a lot of people actually played it. I remember playing this back then, due to my, I really cherished games and loved games like Tomb Raider, games like Alone in the Dark, kind of like, let's say, survival horror mixed with adventure. And this game is exactly that. So I'm going to be talking about The City of Lost Children from 1997. This was for MS-DOS, and this was developed and published by Psygnosis. Now, this was based on the 1995 movie with the same name, and Psygnosis was given the task for reproducing this science fantasy French movie starring the very unique, let's call him very unique, Ron Perlman. It's a third-person perspective game that can be considered, as I was saying, a mix of Alone in the Dark due to its very grim atmosphere, with Tomb Raider due to its adventure game or gameplay characteristics. Taking the role of a little girl called Miette, we are forced to perform small thefts that are ordered by the Siamese twins known or nicknamed as the Octopus. However, Miette is always on the run from the evil cyborg cult called the Cyclops, that kidnaps children to have their dreams extracted by Crank, a highly intelligent but malicious being that cannot have any dreams of his own. So the story about this character is that he could not have any dreams of his own, so he would kidnap children, extract their dreams, and due to the fact that he could not have any dreams of his own, he was aging prematurely. So that's why he was kidnapping children to do this. This is actually a great movie if you haven't watched it. It's a French movie, as I mentioned in the intro, but it's worthwhile. It's kind of like a steampunk city or technology world, let's say, where they have a very grim and dark way of doing things there. But it's worthwhile, anyways. So
I actually heard about this game back then, never got to play it, but now that you're telling the story, I never knew that.
well, you can watch the movie first, actually, and the
It
game
sounds really cool.
the game does complement it a little bit, and despite that the game has no involvement on the original cast of the movie, so they don't really make a comeback into the game. It does a really good job on filling in the gaps and setting up the steampunk world that I was mentioning and the environment that is depicted in both the movie and the game. So they really did a good job on representing that. The gameplay, it just feels like a survival horror game that I was saying of the time, of that specific time. If, for example, like the likes of Resident Evil, more or less. We can talk to characters to find solutions, pick up and store items, and use those to move forward throughout the game. So pretty much a kind of adventure game that we were used to that time. Now, one of the most hated aspects of this game is the fact that interactions with objects is not very well designed. Maybe not well designed is a bit harsh. It's just very, very odd, let's say. In order to interact with certain objects, you have to be standing directly on top of them. And adding to that, many of the objects that are simply not visible through the predetermined camera angles that the game offers. So it's going to be more of an Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark search for the Holy Grail to get there, So it's going to be difficult to get to the point where you find some of the objects. I remember one situation where there's a candle that is not lit up and it's inside of a cupboard that is completely black. So only if you actually go into the cupboard and stand really close to it and you click examine that or click the action button is when you can retrieve this candle. So some things are really, really difficult. I have to say that I don't really remember it being that difficult, but then I haven't really revisited this game in well over a decade. So I would have probably a different opinion now, but I didn't want to play the game before doing this review because I think that it really probably would affect my experience of what it was back then and what it is today. So the backgrounds are really gorgeous and they are, they really set the set dark and gloomy environment very well as the very well composed soundtrack that varies with the actions taken by Miette. Sadly, the game is rather short. I remember that I finished this game in a little over 2 days on weeknights, which means that I had school the next day, so the playtime was limited. But still, I was able to to finish this game in 2 nights. And I guess that the gameplay time or the runtime, it's about 10 hours, which is extremely short. And despite the mediocre reviews and the sales success, that it wasn't that great, I think that overall Psygnosis did a great job with this game. And it's just stunning graphics, immersive soundtrack, and they didn't really forget some of the key gameplay aspects of this genre. That reminds me a lot of other games that I just mentioned, Alone in the Dark, Resident Evil, which were quite famous back then, and these type of games really had a lot of success. So not exactly a blockbuster, not by any chance, but still a very good game that I would recommend. Unfortunately, not available in any digital platform that I know of, but it's really worthwhile that you guys pick it up if you really like this type of atmosphere games. It's more Alone in the Dark than anything else, so if you want to take a look at it, try it out, because I think that it's really, really good and I really, really enjoyed it. So what do you have for us now, Blade?
Okay, so now, first of all, I promised the donut story in the intro.
Yeah, let's hear about the donuts.
What's the donut story? It's rather simple. I had this surgery, and at the point I could actually almost sit down, I had to use this special pillow that looked like a giant donut because it had a hole in the middle, and I needed that.
Oh, the ones.
And I'm not going.
Those that they use when you have surgeries on your.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It wasn't exactly there. It was slightly up.
Yeah, but I know
from that point. But
I know.
So I had to use that for quite a while. But that was the point I could actually semi-sit down in bed, belly up. And at this point, I could also at night play games alone, because during the day I'd usually be with my friends because they kept me company. But when I managed to finally do this, that pillow was sacred. And I mean sacred. It was like being on the toilet but comfier and not cold. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I got that image in your brain. So
Yeah, I don't know if I
then
want to have that image in my mind right now. I think I should just erase my own memory
just-
right now because it's just,
yeah, we need something like they got on Men in Black and just like press the button and erase
yeah.
it.
Wait! Don't say anything. Okay, you can say now.
Okay, now. So then I started playing this game mainly at night. It's when I had the time because I was really into RPGs and I was really into Final Fantasy. But this isn't anywhere close to Final Fantasy quality, but it's a good game. I actually enjoyed it. It's a game from 2003 called Xenosaga.
Okay.
It had the rest of the name that I literally can't pronounce, so I'm not going to even try. This is the first one. There were 3 in the saga, and then a few others came for other consoles. But this was basically an RPG Final Fantasy style, but with a much more linear storyline and development. You didn't have a lot of exploration involved as you would like, and the story was quite simpler.
But wait a minute. You have to pronounce the name. So can you pronounce the name? Xenosaga.
Xenosaga. And the rest of the name was Der Wille zur Macht. Or something like. Yeah, I don't know for what reason, but that was the name.
Aha, okay.
So, battling system on this game was very similar to Final Fantasy. You just picked your actions. Well, every time you got to the time frame, you used that character and it would progress like that. And then you had the special attacks. Why did I pick this game up? I knew it was an RPG, but the main character in this one was really cool. It was this female cyborg called Cosmos that was designed specifically to fight the enemy alien race called Gnosis. And it was really cool. Okay. The character was really cool. The game was pretty standard. It was nothing out of the ordinary.
I have no idea which game you're talking about, and I don't think I ever played any games of this saga, to be honest.
Yeah, but just look at the character. It's really cool. It's Cosmos. It's a cyborg.
Okay.
And she had this very special attack. I think it was called X-Buster, if I remember right, where she would just pop up like in the middle of somewhere. They always vanished from the battlefield and showed up somewhere, and the chest would just, on the bottom part, open up like a cannon, and this brilliant cannon will be born behind her and just shoot this huge bolt and destroy everything in sight. Not literally, because some of them survived, but it was cool.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed this game. I mean, I recommend everyone to pick it up because it's not anywhere near the quality of other JRPGs, but it's really cool. It was developed by Monolith Soft and released by Namco, and you really should get your hands on this one. It's really, really cool.
I remember some games.
Try it out.
I remember some games of Monolith. I don't remember which ones, but I played some games.
Oh, they had some cool ones.
They had some really good. I don't remember which one. Anyways, I'll try.
Don't ruin. We'll talk about them later.
I cannot really recommend this game because I haven't played it. But if he says so, if Blade says so, then you guys should play it. Obviously,
just
give it a go. And I think that
it's cool.
It's cool. And I think it's time that it's so cool that we are now going to freshen up the environment. And today, back to our normal schedule and talking about a very cool indie game that if you guys haven't played, you have to. So what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about My Friend Pedro from 2019.
That's so cool.
This was released for Windows, Xbox, Switch, PlayStation 4, and this was developed by Dead Toast Entertainment and published by Devolver Digital. Now,
we're going bananas, right?
We're going bananas, exactly. If you love the bullet time mechanics introduced in games like Max Payne and that were explored to exhaustion by the Matrix movies and games also, this is exactly for you. So My Friend Pedro is a 2D platform shooter where we need to kill the biggest number of enemies in the shortest time possible and with style, like loads of style. Our friend Pedro, represented by a talking banana, will tell us exactly what we need to not only be a good assassin, but also will give us some hints on where we need to go, as well as show us how to unlock some of our abilities. Right off,
DJ, you know what the best way to describe this game is? It's a cross between the Matrix and an old MS-DOS game called Abuse, but on steroids.
Yeah, but actually, I was going to say something different. Right off the bat, when I played this game, I got a very distinctive feeling of Hotline Miami, where, because of the absurd fact that we are taking orders to perform unimaginable actions or atrocities from the mastermind of a banana. And in this case, in Hotline Miami, it was from people in masked as animals, and like talking to you on the phone, and with probably some schizophrenia in the middle, like, most likely they were all crazy and stuff like that. But again, back to this game. While jumping through platforms, spinning and shooting, performing some parkour movements and dodging bullets, if we can chain kill enemies, we get multiplier bonuses that will increase our score and give us a higher rank at the end of each level. So it's like one of those that gives you A, B, C levels at the end of the when you complete each one of them, and they rate your performance, let's say. Despite the several levels of difficulty, I didn't find this game incredibly hard, and I think that's exactly the point. The whole idea is to enjoy the absurdness of the plot along with the plethora of incredible moves that you can do with our character. And did I tell you that you can actually ricochet bullets in some of the surfaces to hit your enemies? So if you guys didn't know this, you guys should just grab this game. It's going to be available on Game Pass on the 18th of November, so I believe this week still. It's going to be, it's going to be tomorrow. We're going to have this game available on Game Pass if you guys like, but if you don't have Game Pass, it costs roughly 17 euros in GOG and Steam. They're pretty much the same price on both of these stores. So if you guys want to grab it, this is just pure fun. It's just pure fun. It's a game with, how can I say this? I mean, they really grabbed the mechanic and they really explored it very well. They did a great thing with this game. It's totally enjoyable. It's fun. And it's fast-paced, and I mean, you get such a kick out of it. It's inexplicable, kind of like Hotline Miami. How such a simple game that just involves like going
I'll
and
give
shooting
you
people. It's
a more
so
precise mix. So just go with The Matrix, Abuse, and Postal. Just mix the three of them.
Yeah, I think so. Although I would find Postal at sometimes a little bit boring because it wasn't that fast paced.
Yeah.
It was very slow paced, I think.
No, it wasn't.
But definitely, Abuse was a great game, and I think we already talked about it.
It was awesome. We talked about it a lot.
But I think,
and there's actually a freeware version of this game available on the internet.
Yeah, we'll explore that on the next one. So. Although not freeware, we are freeware, but what is also freeware is you guys leaving a like on our videos, because we do enjoy those likes. Obviously, it's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's something that always helps us to grow and continue bringing this content. As you always know, guys, leave a like if you like. I just said it. Leave a dislike if you didn't like. Just subscribe our channel. Smash that like button once again. And as we always say, we'll see each other next week. And game on, guys. See you later.
Game on, everyone. See you next week.